longer worried about the apocalypse for some reason. I need to get a little normalcy in my life. I need something that is not my president saying he's going to wipe out a civilization. I need something that feels a little more normal, a little more what I've basically been dealing with for the last few years. Something that doesn't make me freak the fuck out. Purple Kobold, hello, thank you for the raid. How are you doing? That's not the thing that's not weird, but that one's also a thank you. That one's also a thank you. I can't English words. I can't grammar. Anyway, what we need to talk about today is Stephen Miller on Fox News. He has some words to say, and I think you're gonna find them a little bit interesting. Let's see what's going on here.
Illinois, Chicago, New York, Massachusetts. Democrats have gerrymandered the vote beyond recognition.
So the argument when they lose is that the Democrats have gerrymandered. The argument when they win is this is a victory for democracy. Oh boy. Said I'm tired of this bootleg Lex Luthor. Motherfucker. So no, I've seen this episode before. South Park made a great Miller character. It's so weird living in a world where when your president wins, it is the will of the people. But whenever anything that he doesn't like happens, whenever any election sways further away from what Republicans want, suddenly they've got to say that we're cheating. Now, you know why they do this, right? The reason they do this is because, at least in the Republican political party, anytime they make an accusation, it is very, very, very much projection. There's a certain person who said a quote ages ago about what you can do with a big lie. Make a lie, make it big, make it outrageous, and convince everybody that your opponents are doing the thing. Said, oh, projection? Yeah, it's projection. It's projection. So when Marjorie Taylor Greene, back when she was my representative, when she gets on the phone and tries to get more votes, like people to come from fucking California over here to inflate her voter base, that's perfectly normal. When Donald Trump calls people to find extra votes so that Georgia doesn't flip blue, that's perfectly normal. But the nanosecond that we win anything, nope, absolutely not. Terrible, bad. Oh, by the way, Hitler coined that phrase. Anyway.
To try to maintain their advantage in the House elections. On top of that, let's not forget, Democrats rigged the 2020 census by including illegal aliens. Remember, they sued
Okay, so, of course the census included illegal aliens in the United States, my guy. A census is not a way to determine how many citizens you have. A census is determining how many people are living in an area. Also, the census doesn't vote. Everybody who is on the census is not automatically registered as a person who can vote. The census doesn't have fuck all to do with the vote. Dorita says, tell me you haven't read the Constitution without telling me you haven't read the Constitution. I'm willing to say I haven't read the Constitution in several years, despite my job.
Donald Trump, they sued the administration, they fought tooth and nail to include illegal aliens in the census. 20 to 30.
Yeah, illegal aliens being in the census doesn't change anything. If you're worried about voter fraud, people who aren't citizens existing here does not mean they can vote. They don't get the chance to vote. If you've ever voted before, let me tell you how that works. When you go to vote, you go to a polling location, you hand them your ID, and they say whether or not you're at the right polling location. When they say you're at the right polling location, they hand you a card, and you take that card and you go to a polling booth. Once you go to the polling booth, you insert that card into the polling booth. They tell you you can't use your phones, and you put down your votes, whatever they are, whatever you're voting on. And then once you're done tallying up everything, then everything is honky-dory. You pop away, and life's great. Do you know what that doesn't allow for? Illegal aliens. People who are undocumented in the United States by definition, don't have the documentation to go and fucking vote. Jesus. Suris, you don't understand racism. I mean, I think I do understand racism. Jesus fucking Christ.
Of House Democrat seats wouldn't exist but for illegal aliens. Texas is taking...
Okay, so again, when you say the illegal aliens voting, how? In what way? How are they doing that? Also, yeah, Heritage Foundation includes 289 cases that involved fraudulent use of absentee ballots, but when it comes to the 10 million mail-in ballots, there were only 4 cases of fraud in 2026, at least from what I'm seeing on the link, but I'm not reading it because I can't read it. There we go. Please enable JS and disable any ad blocker. Why the fuck do you need me to disable my ad blocker? Fuck off. Please enable JS. I don't know what that is. I give up. I give up. Just don't fucking use the New York Times. Just don't fucking use the Times. It's that easy. It's that fucking easy. Please have JavaScript enabled. God fucking damn it. No. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. It's not, I don't have to do this. Anyway.
Taking just a small corrective step against this ocean of fraud, this ocean of abuse.
This ocean of fraud, when in 10 million mail-in ballot cases, there were only 4 cases of fraud. So, like, the statement is never, there is no fraud in elections. There's always an amount of fraud in elections. The statement is, there is not a statistically significant enough amount of fraud in elections that we know of to sway the vote to the other person. And historically, the side that will use that little margin for error to their advantage is usually the Republicans. And if you don't believe me, please look at the history of the election between Bush and Al Gore. It is funny how our voting systems have worked so well for so long for everybody, but then the minute that Donald Trump lost an election, suddenly that was bad. Election, not erection. Fuck. Not erection. Jesus Christ. But it is projection at the end of the day. The reason they accuse Democrats of being cheaters is because when they have the option, when they have the ability, they will cheat as well. Just like when they accuse Democrats of being pedophiles or Democrats of being abusers, and then the Epstein file shows their big guy as like one of the big people in the fucking files. I'm sorry, but they accuse Democrats of being frauds, but you still don't have your Trump phone, do you? Every time. Kiwi says, I mean, can we say he lost both that day? So I swear I just heard it. The 2020 erection? The 2020 erection. Freaking hell. And again, the question you have to ask yourself here is, why do you care about the fucking census at this point? The census isn't what's used to determine whether or not you can vote. It's not the case. Also, JASA found the link without the paywall, apparently. So we'll look at that real quick. Despite grand claims, this is from a year ago. Despite grand claims, the new report shows non-citizen voting hasn't actually materialized. More than 6 months into Trump's second term, they haven't found much. New research out Wednesday, tracking state government efforts across the country, confirms what election experts have said all along. Non-citizen voting occasionally happens, but in minuscule numbers, and not in any coordinated way. Said non-citizens are not a large threat to our election system currently. Said David Becker, the executive director of the Center for Election Innovation and Research, which conducted that research. Each states that are looking everywhere to try to amplify the number of non-citizens. When they actually look, they find a surprisingly, shockingly small number. It said, why ever would the insurrection party cheat? Yeah, again, they claim that the United States system is such that it is rigged in the Democrats' favor, but they have every single area of government and have for the last year and a half. And oh, by the way, they're the ones that did January 6th. Their guy did January 6th. So, I'm sorry. I will never be convinced that y'all are not the corrupt motherfuckers here. Technically, Miller is not worried about the illegals voting, although it's not... Rather, let me be more clear. He's probably worried about that. But he was specifically talking about gerrymandering, so I went ahead and did a little research on undocumented immigrants across the years to see if maybe the amount of undocumented immigrants could possibly be flooding in so that Democrats could, you know, rig elections in their favor. And what the numbers show is that, let's see here, from 1990 to 2000, there was an increase in illegal immigration. That's the Clinton years. But from 2000 to 2006, during Bush's administration, we still had a giant rise in immigrants coming in who were undocumented. And around the time you get to the end of Bush's term and you get to Obama's turn, suddenly things start to drop a little bit and in fact start to levy out over the years. So if Stephen Miller wants to sit there and freak the hell out about undocumented immigrants being used to gerrymander elections, we would have seen that every single year going backwards, and the data simply doesn't suggest that that has happened. There are some Republicans who argue that there's 14 seats that are taken by Democrats because of undocumented immigrants, and there are some calculations that show 13 seats. Elon Musk thinks that it's 20 seats, but there's no reasonable calculation that shows that. I mean, this is the same guy that thought that travel was going to be revolutionized by a one-way fucking tunnel, so, we hasten to add the obvious. This is not 14 additional congressional seats. The number is capped at 435, and illegal immigrants are dispersed to every state in America, blue and red. There is very little impact at all when it comes to illegal immigration on how our fucking districts are set up. I'm sorry, but yeah, I agree, Tanik. Miller is rejecting this reality and substituting it with his own. Because here's the thing. What Republicans love to do is they love to freak the hell out about something by saying a technically true statement, never adding on the important information that determines whether or not that statement has any validity for consideration. They simply freak out about it. They get mad about a thing. They'll say, like, I'm angry that trans women go into women's bathrooms. And, like, yeah, that's a thing that happens. But the implication that raping happens after that isn't really supported by any data. But they do freak out about it still. They just simply do. And then their constituents freak out about it as well because they think it's valid, because they watch Fox News. I'm disappointed with an entire party that tried to usurp the fucking government. Y'all are all jokes. Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitt, you know I'm not saying that last part, Sylvie Snow, Valis of Seraph, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.